throughout Dead Island 2, you see this award called the Romero. Now, completely a reference to George A. Romero, the father of zombie films. There are zombie films before him, don't get me wrong, but he's the one who kind of made the genre what it is and what you know it is. We talked about the history of the zombie and the idea and the metaphor a lot in our Walking Dead episode, so make sure to check that out because I won't go into that too much here. But something that is huge about Romero's work is a lot of it is satire and commentary upon the modern world. So I wasn't going to let Dead Island 2 off easy without actually doing that. And they actually did. I was very surprised how funny and satirical this game is. It's a super nice breakaway from what we've seen in things like The Walking Dead that are all drab and it's just constantly dark and brooding and all that stuff. And then you've got things like Dying Light, who also does the same things that kind of forget what made the genre so special with films like Dawn of the Dead. Now, Dead Island 2 does not. Dead Island 2 leans into it heavy, especially being that it is all set in LA. Even though the game is actually written very well and fun, the game itself is actually pretty fun as well. There's nothing groundbreaking gameplay-wise, but it allows for a level of customization that I wasn't ready for. I wasn't ready to see how much I could do. The game is an RPG card system, so you have to switch out cards for your character to see what powers you have, what upgrades, things like that. But it actually benefits the game a lot. And there's many things that benefit this game, but it is kind of a tighter linear story than I thought it was going to be. When you see things like this, you're assuming it's this open world sandbox where you have to climb towers to unlock the map and all that horrible gameplay mechanics that make things a chore. But it actually doesn't have that. That isn't in this. And I was so happy. I was so happy to just have a straight, clear thing where everything moves from set piece to set piece. There's a lot to love in this game. Now, before I get into this game, I don't want you to think that my opinion of it is going to be shaped by the delays or anything like that. I don't believe I need to judge a game because of how long it took to make, because you don't have to. There was a lot of things behind the scenes with changing of studios and things like that, but closer to release, we haven't heard about any crunch or things like that. And one of the studios that was working on the game, their parent company, Embracer Group, actually released statements being anti-crunch, talking about how the practice is horrible. So I hope to say that no one had to sleep under their desk or anything to get this game made, which I am not holding to it, but I actually think it's a benefit because it sucks knowing that these developers are put through hell by these studios to get games out on time, and it doesn't seem like we've got that with this. So I just want you to keep that in mind, that my review isn't going to base anything on the delays or anything like that, just because I don't think it deserves that. Now, the game itself, Dead Island 2, is set in Los Angeles. You may be saying to yourself, Dan, Los Angeles isn't an island. But, I mean, technically, in the game, the entire area is closed off from the world by the military and kind of just left to rot. So it is an island within itself, it's just shut off from the rest of the world. So at that point, you're like, okay, it kind of is an island because you are surrounded by flesh-eating zombies. I'm not going to put any ill will on sharks. Sharks would not do that. But yeah, you are essentially on an island, metaphorically, and actually, not metaphorically for me because I wasn't able to play the co-op mode yet. So I was an island by myself. This game, I'm so excited to get to try the co-op mode because I feel like I'm going to have so much fun playing this with friends. So, at the start of the game, you are given a choice of which character you want to play. Every character is very funny. Their description is very funny. They have really iconic, cool looks. There's a Hollywood stuntman. My favorite, other than the character I played, is this. Okay, he's an exotic dancer, but he's wearing a firefighter costume, so he looks like he's a firefighter, but then you notice there's a 99-cent sticker on the back of his helmet because he's whipping that thing off to strut his stuff, which is awesome. Now, I played as a character named Danny, who is she is from Cork, Ireland. Cork County, Ireland. Moved to Boston, then moved to LA. She has the rockabilly looks. She's got the dyed hair. She rules. There's a mechanic in the game where if a zombie gets knocked down, you can actually step on their head to pop it like a pimple. And every time she's like, fuck. And I love her. Now, something about that is that each character has their own unique stat blocks and related skills to their character that may be a detriment to some people, but I actually like that because it gives you a reason to pick different people, and I thought that's where it was going to end. But each character has like a ton of unique dialogue and interactions with other characters and their own reaction to the story itself, which I really, really liked. Danny rules. You can like feel her eyes rolling when she responds to people and how stupid they can be. My favorite thing about the character is that she is a brawler. She is in your face. She was a roller derby girl. Like, she fucking rules. There is a lot of up close and personal combat because it is a melee based game. You do get guns later on, but it is mostly a melee experience, which is what I wanted, because when I play these games, I want to be the monster. I want to be able to get so strong that I'm just whacking monsters and zombies all around, which you can do later in the game. As you upgrade and level up, you eventually become kind of a behemoth within yourself. Now, the character skills and development are done in a card system, so you get different cards as you level up, and you have like a limited amount of slots where you can put them in. At first, that kind of was a turnoff to me, because I don't love that, because I want to be able to pack as many things as I can into the character, but then I was like, if you're playing co-op, you want to be able to balance and like not have everybody be the juggernaut, so it does leave some balance for that. But one thing, I think the real moment I was sold was a bit into the game when you eventually unlock the block ability. Now, the game starts and you get a dodge ability, which means if you click, I think it's L1, you dodge back, like you do little strafes away from the things. And that's just not how I play. I really want to be up close and personal and just keep swinging. So you can switch that out for the block, which allows you to stay closer and take the hit. And if you do it right, you can stun them, things like that. But it allowed me to take my gameplay style and make the game work for it, which was super cool, instead of forcing me to play the way they think I should be playing, which games like the Soulsborns and stuff like that do, which I hate. I really love how this allowed me to kind of cater to my own experience, which I loved. Now, with that, the variety of melee weapons is incredible. There's so many cool... You're just picking up objects and just swinging them. Now, I was worried because I don't love deterioration in games where like when you use the weapon too many times and it goes away. That always just grinds my gears. But Dead Island allows you to repair them, upgrade them, things like that. And then you can also level them to whatever level you're at, which is incredible because then you can keep your favorite weapon for the whole game, which I really liked. Now, ever since I played Dead Space, the remake, I have been fascinated with the damage you can do to monsters. Like in Dead Space, they have an entire system where the flesh rips off and things like that are realistic. So you can like actually do that. You can like shoot off people's legs. And Dead Island 2 really does have a great system too. So, for example, if you have like a mace and you slam it across the zombie's face, wow, that alliteration, that bad boy's jaw is coming clean off. But if you take like a machete or something and slice their stomach, it does that thing you see in zombie movies where all the guts pour out, like Tom Savini himself was doing the makeup for this game, which rocks. You can slash them across the chest, their head, like you can slash open their dome and you can see a little brain in there. It's so cool. Like I'm not pro violence, but like when I'm playing these games or watching horror movies, I'm a big gore hound. Like I love splatter, I love all of that, and this game really indulges that. And I don't know, it just makes it fun. Like it's a game where you smile a lot rather than like quivering in your boots for me personally, and I really love that. Now, one thing that, and you've heard it throughout this, the genre of horror video games has gotten to the point where it's taking itself way too seriously. Like Resident Evil has removed, with the remakes, removed a lot of the goofiness that I love. I don't care when they they make things less sexualized, because they should in some of these instances, but the goofiness is what I want to remain. Like some of the dialogue that Leon has that he doesn't have in the new 4, I don't know, it just kind of sucks that it's like, they're like, no, this has to be like a serious adventure. I mean, Resident Evil's not serious, but you know what I mean. Now, Dead Island 2 doesn't. It is so much fun, and being in LA, it's nice to have a lot of sections be during the day, so you get like the light, and you get the colors, and you get the funny outfits people wear. You get to really experience the brightness of Hollywood while you're watching the horrors of monsters kind of trot around. Now, the biggest thing that stuck with me is how they take full advantages of the shallowness of Hollywood and the different modern tropes that we deal with. I don't want to go too deep into spoilers because there is a lot of cool stuff. There's like actors and things like that where you want to strangle them because they're so shallow and they're not thinking about what they should be doing. They're thinking about what they want to be doing. But there is a side quest early in the game where you're going to a location. You go through like one of those hype houses where like all the influencers live together and make content, quote unquote. So when you're coming back, you have to go through that house again, but you realize there's someone on the roof. You go up there and it's a girl making content. She's making videos that she can't even send out because there's no signal. So you are on the roof and you have a quest where you have to do a bunch of different like gimmicks, like kick zombies off the roof, stuff like that. And as I'm doing this quest, I'm like being overrun. And I'm like, I'm going to kill you. Like you are putting me in danger just to make your little video. And I'm still thinking about it now because I was like, wow, that is very funny. Because like with people like Mr. Beast who kind of dehumanize people with their videos, it's like, well, yeah, I think this actually tracks. Like this is the things that would be happening. I think that satirical writing is actually pretty strong in this. And I think it's something that's super important to me in the zombie genre, because if you're making something like this, for me, horror typically has to have something to say. And horror always has. It is not a new thing. Horror has always had something to say all the way back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre and before. So I'm really impressed how well this game was written and how funny some of the dialogue is. Now, with that being said, the world and story of the game doesn't feel like an open world sandbox, and that may be a detriment to some people, but for me, it was awesome. Because I'm so tired of being dropped into sandboxes where every mission is just a dot on the map. It is a copy and paste chore you have to do, deliver this, protect this. Now, you do get those types of missions in this game, but it's unique because it's not overpopulated. It's not like this map is filled with 100 objects you have to get in that way. You don't have to climb towers to unlock the map and do all that boring stuff. It kind of goes from big set piece to set piece. Like, even when you're walking through the streets, there's a lot of fun to be had, especially with the, for me personally, the electricity. Like, when you get electric weapons and you, like, throw water on people, you get to electrocute the zombies. Rules, so you get to cook them. But then you've got things like giant movie studios, hotels, and other things that feel really distinct. There are bosses in the game, each completely designed uniquely, and the fight is unique, which I really love because I feel like a lot of modern games lack boss battles. And it was really fun to have them in this. I won't get into spoilers too much, but we have seen the bride who is Muscle. She's just a muscular lady that kicks the shit out of you. It rocks. And there is another one, I won't tell you what the bad guy is, but you fight under a giant B-movie spider. And I was in heaven. I was like, this is the coolest battle I've played in a horror game. Like, I'm so excited. I'm just like, wow, I love this. Because it really just goes back to why I love horror. I love the campiness. I love slashers because you get to be the slasher in this one. And I think Dead Island 2 stands out as a horror title because it wants to make you laugh at the things that are going on in the world. It wants you to laugh at the situations you can put yourself into. And I really, the mechanics of the game were a lot of fun. There's nothing that really breaks what we've seen in other games. Like, it's not an extremely unique experience gameplay wise, but it is a first person melee game that does it really well, and it doesn't rely on a gimmick like Dying Light that is like, oh, you can do all this running and stuff, you can do this parkour, which, oh, listen, I love the parkour of that game, but this is just a solid experience that isn't innovating a whole lot, but it is so strong that it doesn't matter. Like, I'm just having so much fun because the story's fun, the characters are goofy, there's a rocker who's like just a dumbass. There's so much to like about this game that I do think it has earned the ability to say the Romero as a hokey trophy in the world, and I would give this game 5 out of 5 Romeros. Be sure to check out our website at gatecrashers.fan.